Hey y'all, it's Kelsey with k.currinfurnitureco. I have another haul for y'all this week. This one was kind of mismatched and not planned. I got some stuff from my sister-in-law that she had that she wasn't going to use anymore, or she had bought at Goodwill. And some other stuff that I made 2 trips this week and didn't really plan to do one because I have so much stuff that I need to get sold, and I'm trying to get ready for my craft show in a couple weeks. So most of the stuff that I have here, if it doesn't sell on my website or sell on Facebook, I'm going to have it in the craft show. So let's get started. Let's see. So I have these frames. I paid $1.99 for all 3. They're gold plated. They're really pretty. They even have the little hooks on the back. And then I got a bigger one that's got the hanger on there. This one I paid $1.99 for just yet, but they're worth it. They're really pretty. Okay, she gave me this brass duck. I haven't done, it's a faucet, comes to or connected to a faucet, but I haven't ever Googled it, anything about it or anything to see, but like what it's worth or anything. But it's solid. You could hurt somebody with it if you wanted to. Alright, so I've got these 2 insulators. I hadn't really figured out what I'm going to do with them. I paid about 99 cents for the 2 of them. Let's see. I'm hoping this is $2.99. It was originally $14.99 at Target's, and it's the Magnolia, the Hearth and Hand. But I thought it was really cute. It'd be really pretty with some floral in it. Or just sitting on a shelf. Okay. This is, I paid $2.99 for this. So I'm wanting to do the transfers. They're retired, but I have one more little packet of it. So I did a couple on these coffee percolators. Couldn't think of the word. But the percolators, I want to do one of them on here. So that'll be in another video. She also got me this. I absolutely love it. And it doesn't have a name or anything on it, but there's no scratches or anything on it. She also gave me this cloche and the marble bottom cheese plate. It's very pretty. I really hate to sell that, but I don't have any use for it. I made a big charcuterie board that I used in I've used it at a couple baby showers and a birthday party. It's really awesome. I made it out of an old table, so I use it, so I don't really have the use for the small ones. So let's see. We also have this. It's in really good condition too. I don't know if that's actually for liquor or not. I need to look at that because I don't think it's big enough. Because the ones I've had have been really big. It could be for oil or something like that too. Okay, also got this. Just that time of year that it would be really good if you have a garden or something to put stuff in, and these come out. So I think I paid like $5.99 last year for this. And she used it for a little while, but it's going to be on the website because it'll be pretty easy to ship because it breaks down. So let's see. Okay, I got this curtain rod holder. I'm going to be doing a video soon of the extra bedroom. I'm going to remake it into like a French country theme. And I started painting, so I'm going to have to repaint the whole room. But I know I'm going to spare you all the details of the painting and stuff because that's kind of like watching paint dry, literally. So, okay, I got these other knobs. These are for like you can use them on your curtains or your shower curtain. But I wanted to see if I could do something with these crystal knobs. Like try to take them off and like cut them off and see if I can figure out something else if I don't end up using them for curtain rod. Let's see, so this old scale, which not really that old. I'm not sure. There's not anything on it, but it's missing the top. But I'm wanting to paint this. Keep this the same because it doesn't work. So, and then figure out a plate or something that can fit on top. But I'm going to paint it and then do a transfer on it with the new IOD transfers that just come out. That's going to be in another video. So, and then here in this next week, I had a friend give me an old, like, nesting chicken thing. It's got the 8 nesters in it. So I'm going to redo an area in my garage where I can, like, stage and stuff. But I'm going to take it, mount it on the wall, and then I'm trying to find an old buffet. So if I can find an old buffet, I'm going to paint it, and I'm trying to do, like, I seen it on Pinterest, like, comparison, see if I can do the same thing. But they had this picture up on top of the buffet, and my sister-in-law found this for me, and it's $4.99 at Goodwill. So I'm probably going to end up selling it. It probably went for about $29.99 at Hobby Lobby, so we'll probably do $19.99 for it on the website. Okay, and then I found this brass candlestick. The only reason why I purchased it is because it's got it spins. Or you can use it in 2 different ways. You can use it that way, or you can put them together, but I thought it was really pretty. And I paid $2.99 for that. I also got this bread box. I'm not picking it up because it's very heavy. I paid $5.99 for it. It's solid wood. It's outdated by just being like this, so I'm going to paint it and then distress it back. Okay, let's see. And then I got these canisters. I got the sugar, flour, coffee, and tea. They're vintage, and it's probably got a date on here. They're a little bit rusty on the bottom. They're Lincoln Beauty Wear, but I bet I can find a date somewhere. But they're $2.99 for all 4 of, like, $2.99 a piece. So I paid $12 for the whole set plus tax, but so I found this enamel plate at Goodwill, and then I ended up using the Desperado, one of the transfers in there. That's going to be at the end of the video, but I show you, like, how I did that and what I did and everything. That's just it close up. Okay, and this is some of the projects that are at the end of the video. So these, I had 3 of them, and I broke 1 of them, so I ended up with 2. But I painted it, and then it used to be a mirror, so you'll see that at the end, but that's how it turned out. I love that so much. Let's see. And these are at the end of the video. They're 2 of the percolators that I did. And these are probably my favorite. I made them into little risers, but they're from Aldi's. Those little cutting boards. I had several sets of those. So I ended up doing the IOD stamps on there with the ink, and then I used little bobbins for the feet, but they turned out so cute. And then I found this birdhouse. I think I paid $7.99 for it, but I really love it. It's got all the little birds and everything on it still. They're little magnets, so you can put stuff on there and use that. And then the last thing that I got is this. Can't really see it, but I paid, I think, $9.99 for this. But I'm wanting to repaint the chalkboard because I splattered paint on it while I was painting some furniture this week. And I'll repaint that with black, but I'm going to leave the rest of it as is and just sell it. And this is one of the other projects at the end of the video. I painted this with black velvet underneath Then I sealed the black velvet so when I distressed back through the pink that it would stay, wouldn't come off. So it turned out really cute. For project 1, we're going to be using these cute little Aldi's cutting boards or cheese boards that I've got. I have several of these lying around, and I thought it would be a good way to use some of them up, getting ready for the craft show I have coming up. So I'm using the color Crinoline, which is by DIY Paint, and I do 1 full coat, and then I'll go back and distress it later on. So I make sure that I paint the backs too, just in case somebody wants to display this in a different way than just as a riser. So I make sure I do 1 even coat on the front, 1 even coat on the back, and then I go in after they get done drying, and I'm going to wet distress them with a wet rag, and the paint comes off pretty good, but I just love the detail that it gives and the distressed. And that's one thing I love about DIY paint, that you don't have to sand anything if you don't want to. So make sure that they're dry before going in with my IOD stamps. And I can't remember which ones. I think it's the crockery stamps, maybe. And I'm not really good at stamping yet. I don't really use them an awful lot, but I'm trying to get better at it. So I picked 3 and use the black ink. The first one, I got a little bit too much ink on there, but I ended up distressing it back a little bit later on after it dried with some sandpaper. But I absolutely love how these little guys turned out. So I end up, after doing all that, I end up taking some little spools and putting them as the feet and make them little risers. The third one, I ended up taking them off, the small one, because I didn't really care for it being a riser because it was so tiny. But the 2 bigger ones ended up being the perfect size for risers, as you'll see in the end of the video. I ended up using Type Bond to attach these to the bottom because it's a faster drying glue. And so I waxed the top. I had already sealed the bottom so that they would stick. Okay, for project 2, we are going to use this plate that I've thrifted. It's an enamel plate, and I cleaned it real good. And now we're going to use a IOD transfer from the Desperado packet. And that is one of my favorites, especially with the steer head. I did a dresser a few weeks ago with the steer head that comes on there. But I love the floral because you can use this on furniture or just about anything, and you can use this with watercolors, and it is absolutely gorgeous to fill it in. I really wanted just something simple, so that's why I ended up going with this. You can actually use this plate to like serve food on and stuff if you wanted to. I sealed it with a food safe sealer. This part's a little bit tricky getting around the edges of stuff like this, but I absolutely love transfers. They can add so much beauty to something. Kind of made a boo-boo, so I had to go back and try to fix it. So it made it a little bit easier, just cutting out the small little part that I liked. And for project 3, we are taking 2 old percolators that I either thrifted or got at an auction. I can't really remember. But I wanted to spice them up a little bit, so I used a retired set that I had of IOD transfers called Traditional Pots, I believe. I love these labels. They are perfect for just about anything. So I want to use them on some other like pottery I have, but I wanted to spice these up, so this was a simple way to do that, and then to still look like a classic piece of home decor. This one's my absolute favorite. I love the duck on there. I almost used the chicken one on the other one, but I decided to go with the larger one. These are like my favorite little things to style because you can take the top off and put floral in there. For project 4, we end up taking these 3 mirrors. These look vintage to me by the backing of them, but I'm not sure. They're solid wood with the mirror, but I'm not really digging the mirror or the wood color that they had going on. So I ended up using black velvet, and I do 1 coat of that just to have like an undercoat in case it does chip or something. It's got a prettier color than just that dark wood it had. So I'm using, as a top coat, I'm using Paint Blue by DIY Paint. It's Cottage Colors. It's one of my favorite colors, which I've used it, I think, in just about every video here lately. So I do that as the top coat, and it takes 2 layers of that. And I just want to make sure I get that dried really well. Accidentally on one of them made it bubble up because I got the heat gun too close to it, which it happens. And I love this paint because you don't have to have a top coat, which makes life so much easier when you don't have to steal stuff, especially the small projects. It saves you in so much time. So I do 1 coat on the back and just make sure that you can't really tell my brush strokes, and I make sure it's 1 even coat just because you're not really going to be able to see the back, and it just saved me some time. I didn't want to have to wait on it to dry. And you see the detail on the back where they've got the paper on the mirror. That's what made me think it was vintage, and it may not be. So I'm taking the tape off, and I'm going to add a clear wax on top just because I'm fixing to use a dark wax because I don't want it to get too dark. So I'm using Dark and Decrepit, which is one of my favorite. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm using dark wax. I was going to use Dark and Decrepit, but since I did the white wax on, or the clear wax on top, I ended up changing it. So I'm distressing it back just because I don't want it too dark. I just wanted to give this some aged look to it. Which in the video it looks kind of white, but it's a paint blue color. So here I'm using the decoupage paper by JRV, and I am not digging the mirror, so I wanted to decoupage over it. I've never decoupaged over a mirror. This is the first time, but it ended up working out pretty well. I should have painted the mirror, but I just wanted to test it out and see. But liquid patina is the bomb. That is my favorite medium to use. So here I had already taken apart the edges, and I used my little scraper because I didn't have my X-Acto knife, but it worked out pretty well. And for project 5, I ended up getting this jewelry box at a yard sale a few weeks ago, and I showed it in one of my hauls. So in this one, I wanted to use black velvet as the base color, and I do just 1 coat of that just to get an underneath coat or a base coat. And then I take a sealer and I seal it because I don't want it to have to come up when I start doing the wet distress. I'm using the color Petticoat Pink as my top coat. I absolutely love this color. I've done a couple dressers with this. I've painted another jewelry box with this color. It's very popular. It's not a very bright pink, and that's what I like about it. I like the lighter color. And it takes me about 2 full coats with this. I was kind of in a hurry, so I didn't really let the sealer dry as much as I should have, but I ended up turning out pretty well. So I had to go in with my little artist brush because there were spots I missed that I couldn't get in with my big brush. this color has very good coverage. And I accidentally had some little overspill on the sides, and I wanted the inside to stay wood, just in case somebody wanted to redo this later on. They didn't have to, you know, try to scratch it the inside or sand it or whatever. So I end up cleaning the drawers because there's a little bit of overspill, and I do the sides on them, which I didn't get a very good coverage of that, but you get the point. So next we're going to go into the wet distress, which is going to be one of my favorite parts because you get to see the undercoat of it. And this paint, it just distresses so great. Like, I love to distress everything. I know some people it's not their style, but it even, like, if you get it on the knobs and you don't want it on there, you can get it off pretty easy. So I wanted a very much distressed piece because that's why I did the black underneath, just so it would come out. And I love the color combo here. I end up using Miss Lillian's Lackluster and in the matte color. And this stuff is awesome. They have a glossy, and then they have a satin color too, and then an extra glossy. And they are all pretty cool and work really good. And it only takes one coat of this sealer. And I mean, you get really great coverage with it. This is probably one of my favorite pieces. So this came with the little screws, and it's come with the plastic like cover here. I thought it was glass when I picked it up, but I was like, this is so light, and then I tapped it and ended up it was plastic. But hey, you can't tell a difference. This one didn't want to go back in too great, but it ended up working out like it should. And the picture of the finished product will be at the end of the video.